All right. My name is Margaret Hollingsworth, and I'm here with the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial Foundation Share Your Story. Bellevue University is a sponsor of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Foundation Memorial Park Project, and I'm here at the Bellevue University Military Veteran Service Center with Air Force veteran Dwayne Wiskus, who has agreed to share his story for the Library of Congress Veterans History Project and the Nebraska Vietnam Memorial Park Project. Let's begin with your full name and where you were born, Dwayne.
Dwayne Robert Wiskus. I was born in Carroll, Iowa, 1948.
So do you have any siblings?
Yes, I got one brother 5 years younger than me who did the Navy, and my sister's 5 years older than me, and that's it.
What did your parents and brother and sister feel about you joining the Air Force?
Well, I think my sister was proud, but scared. My brother didn't have much to say. I don't know about my mother. She just cried. I said, "What'd you do that for?" And I said, "Well, that's something I gotta do." And my dad said, "Well, this is stupid." I said, "Why?" He said, "That ain't no war." I said, "What do you mean that ain't no war?" He said, "My brother was in the big war. This ain't no war." I said, "Okay, Dad." I said, "Okay. We'll see you." Okay, bye. Gone. And that's about what was said.
So how did you do in school? Did you go to college or?
No, I did terrible. I did terrible.
Is that why you joined the Air Force?
Well, I had draft papers, and to be honest with you, I was in so much trouble at the time. The Army wouldn't take me because I was in so much trouble. So I went to the Marines. They'll take anybody. They took my friend, and I went with him, and they looked at me and they said, "We don't want you." I said, "Well, okay." So I thought, "Well, yeah, I'll go to the Navy." My neighbor kid went to the Navy, and he liked it. I went to the Navy, and the first thing they said, "Do you like water?" I said, "Hell no." "Nope, we ain't taking you." So I went to the Air Force guy, and he said, "Are you still in trouble?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you promise me if I give you a ticket, you can get from here to Texas without getting in trouble?" I said, "Yes, sir, I can give you my word." He said, "Okay, you're in. But I'm telling you, you cause trouble, I'll hunt you down because these stripes are counting on it." I said, "Okay, you got yourself a deal." And that's how I got in the Air Force. So I proved him right.
So you weren't drafted, you volunteered.
Yep, I was drafted, but they wouldn't take me. So I volunteered.
Wow, even better. How old were you when you joined the Air Force?
God, I must have been about 19 or 20. I don't remember for sure.
And what were the years you were in the Air Force?
Oh, from 67 to 71.
And why did so you told us why you joined the Air Force, because they were the only ones who could take you, and the Air Force is the hardest to get into, and they're the only ones that took you, so that is awesome to hear. and your training was where?
San Antonio.
San Antonio. And what type of career field did you go into in the Air Force?
They put me into oh jeepers, I forget what they call it. But anyway, I went to mechanics, recip engine mechanics school. Because at that time, recips were still big yet, and jets were just now coming in big,
What is your most vivid memory of your time in basic training and tech school?
What now?
Your most vivid memory of basic training and of tech school?
Oh, what I loved the best was the field training, going out in the field.
What about that story about your shooting?
Yeah, yeah, we did that too. I qualified off right off the bat, and when everybody else was still learning, and the man asked me, "Can you do that again?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "You want to try it?" I said, "Well, gee." I said, "How much do the shells cost?" And he kind of kicked me and he said, "You got it all wrong, son. The shells are free here. We pay for them. You don't have to. What do you think about that? Can you do it?" I said, "Well, let's give it a try then if I don't have to pay for them." He said, "Yeah, you don't have to pay for them. You already did. You got the uniform on." I said, "Okay." So I turned around and did it again. And he said, "Fantastic. Come with me." And it just scared the living daylights right out of me. Because I thought, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I did something wrong, you know. But I didn't. But I was just a kid and I didn't know no better, you know. So that's about it, you know.
What was your first duty assignment after basic training?
Oh, I went to Kelly Air Force Base and was assistant crew chief on a C-124, the Globemaster, 3 stories high, 4 engine. Wasn't supposed to fly. It was the only plane big enough to haul a fire truck, and it could haul troops, special weapons, like I said, fire truck, some track, and a lot of troops. She was a big old girl.
Big old girl.
But she was pretty reliable. It wasn't supposed to fly, and they landed one once on 1 engine in Japan, and it wasn't even supposed to fly. So she was a pretty good aircraft. And we called her Shaky because it was just like this constantly. And when she sat on the ground, you can tell every place she parked because there was a little oil pool underneath her. It just ran out of her. But she was so reliable.
Did you receive any promotions while you were in the Air Force?
Yes. I got one at Kelly. I got one overseas and then was passed over overseas. Most of us guys that was in our squadron got passed over. So when we came back to the States, they said, well, in order to get promoted, you got to take a test now. And we said, what? You got to take a test. A test? Yeah, how long is a woman's hair supposed to be? What length is her skirt? And what's this, what's that, and what's this? And we busted out laughing and said, what the hell are you talking about, man? We never heard of this stuff before. Well, you do now. This is a new branch of service. And we said, well, it wasn't like that when we left over there. It was on how well you could do your job, you know, or what your body count was. It had nothing to do with length of hair or shortness of a skirt. It had to do what that nurse could do. And I said, if she was ugly as sin, she was good. We loved her, man. We loved her. Didn't make no difference, you know. And now you tell us this, and they said, yeah. And we all said, you can keep it. So we signed a form, said, we refuse. So I passed up my last promotion because I had no idea what they were talking about.
So you got out at what rank?
E4.
E4. What was the hardest part of the military lifestyle for you to adapt to?
Oh my God. geez, at first, doing everything in line, you know. Get that smile off your face. I said, stand over here, not there, you know, and you're off that far, you know. Stuff like that, you know. I guess I wasn't cut out for that, you know. But they kind of teach you how to do it, you might say.
What was the easiest part of the military lifestyle?
Oh, gee, I had quite a few easy jobs. I had a good job in Cali. I love my job overseas in Vietnam. I love my job in Idaho because they gave me a pickup to drive, and they said, this is your truck. Those kids over there work for you. You don't work, they work. They work for you. And I said, okay. So I had some pretty good jobs, you know.
So what all places did you serve? You said you went to basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, then you went to Kelly. Where'd you go after Kelly?
Oh, and I went to Wichita Falls, Texas for tech school. And then when I got out of there, I went to Kelly. And then Kelly, I went to school at Seattle I should say McCord, for a while, then back to Kelly. And then from Kelly to Vietnam.
Where in Vietnam did you serve, sir?
In the train.
The train, okay.
I can't show you because I can't see, but about halfway down on the coast.
Okay.
Okay. We was about kind of in the middle, kind of. We was on the coast there. And Cameron Bay, the big naval base, the huge guy was south of us. And then the DMZ was up there further.
And where did you go, when you came back, where were you stationed, sir?
Idaho.
Idaho.
Mountain Home Air Force Base.
And that's where you retired from? Or
Yeah,
got
yeah.
out, was that at
Yeah,
Home?
that's where I discharged from. So when I was at the train, we did a little traveling sometimes, and I went to Thailand for a month, you know, and I don't know why, but I got volunteered for a few little odds and ends, help the Army out or whatever, you know. But I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good. I guess it depends on what you like, but I enjoyed it. That's probably why they told me I was crazy, huh, Robert?
So when you were over in, you saw combat while you were over there in,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. What did you do for fun?
Drink beer mostly.
Drink beer.
Yeah.
And try to stay out of trouble?
Yeah, it wasn't much trouble to get into, you know. Not unless you got drunk and did something you really pretty stupid, you know. About the only thing I seen somebody get trouble in, we had a staff sergeant, I'll never forget his name, was Parker. Hell of a nice guy, hell of a nice guy. I'd give my life for him. He got drunk, and at our PX station, they had the place fancied up and had palm trees and big flower pots. Tried to make the place look nice. Well, old Parker, one night, everything shut down, and he got a little drunk on vodka and screwdrivers, and he brought back a palm tree in a pot. And we was probably a half a mile from the PX. So, old Parker, being a good man and a little vodka in him, he brought that palm tree back down to our hooch and put it out front. Well, somebody noticed a palm tree missing out front. So they called the SPs. The SPs come. Oh yeah, somebody's been here and drug a tree away. So they got in the Jeep and they followed the trail of dirt where it came out of the flower pot down to our hooch. And so they come in and asking a few questions, you know, anybody know anything about a palm tree, you know? Oh, Parker goes, yeah, you want to buy one? And they said, well, how do you know? I own one, man. Oh, you do? Yeah. You want to see it? Yeah. Don't that look good out front? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. What's your name? Sergeant Parker. Well, Parker, we got bad news for you. And he goes, oh no, what's that? Does it need water? No, you got to take it back. Oh, you got a truck? No, you're going to pull it back just the way you got it down here. And that's what they made him do. Pull it back up there, you know. And that was the end of the trouble.
That was good.
That was the end of the trouble.
So, what kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving over there?
Good, very good. When did Jim come? A couple years ago. A friend of mine came down from Seattle a couple years ago on his motorcycle. And there was 3-4 of us that hung together pretty tight. And Jim came down. Steve, another good friend, another good brother. He moved out of New York City to Connecticut. And the other kid, old Ski, when he got back, he was with us guys. He got his commission. He became a captain and never heard from him since. But Steve I heard from, and Jim I've always heard from. But anymore, I know Jim's still alive. Steve, I don't know if he is or not, because the last time I knew, he weighed over 400 pounds, so I don't know. And Ski, I have no idea.
That's awesome that you still keep in touch with them.
Well, we was pretty close, I'll tell you that. We were real close. Yeah.
So the only recreation to do while you were over there was drinking?
Yeah, drink beer, play cards, sleep if you could, because it gets a miserable hot, you know. And at night is when we usually went to work.
So were you working like 6 days a week or 5 days a week?
7 days a week.
7 days
ma'am.
a week. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So no days off.
No, not unless you got permission to get a day off. And I went and asked for a day off one time. And I told my first sergeant, I said, I got a friend down in Cameron Bay. I said, I'd like to go down and see him. He said, can you come back same day? I said, well, sure. He said, okay, yeah, I'll give you a day off. You can go down there. So I did. So my friend came back and seen me too. And so I introduced him to my first sergeant. My first sergeant said, well, good, good. Now I had a friend in the Marines. He said, you gonna come up and see me? And I wrote him back on a piece of cardboard. I said, where in the hell are you? And he wrote back, he said, well, I just moved again. And I thought, I can't find you when you say you just moved again. So I never did get to see him, because I couldn't find him long enough, you know.
Do you recall any particular humorous or unusual events that happened over?
Unusual?
Yeah.
Well,
Was going to say, I will. Tell about your getting on the ship, Dwayne.
oh my God. No, Jerry. I got volunteered to go to Entree Island. Remember Bob Kerry, our senator?
Yes.
Okay. That's where Bob lost half his leg at, was Entree. And I got volunteered to go to Entree to help out and be down at the dock at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 and get on such and such boat, which was a troop carrier or Higgins. So I get down there, I take my gear and I crawl down inside and sit down. And I looked at the kid next to me and I said, "Whoa, man, this old son of a bitch will sink before he gets there." I said, "Man, look how rusty it is. I wonder if this thing even floats, man. I wonder if it works." And the guy comes by and he goes, "What'd you say?" I said, "Nothing, sir." He said, "You goddamn hippie. You telling me my boat is rusty and it's gonna sink?" I said, "No, I never really said that." And he goes, "Yeah, you did. Don't lie to me, goddammit." He said, "This is my boat and you get off of my boat. You hear me, you hippie?" I said, "Yes, sir." He was an Army guy. And the Army guy was in control. And it was his boat. So I get off the boat. I walk back a mile or so, back to my commander, and I report in, and I get to say I got kicked off the boat. And he kind of sat there, and he was a good guy, and he goes, "And can I ask what happened?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "I got threw off because," I said, "this old goddamn rusty boat will probably sink, man. This thing is rusty, man. I wonder if it even floats." And I said, and the captain of the boat, who was Army, and I said, I didn't know it was his boat, was standing right there, and he said, "You get off my boat, you hippie." And I said, "So here I am, sir, letting you know what I did." He said, "Well, thank you for coming and telling me." He said, "That's funny. Nobody told me the Army had anything to do with this." He said, "I'm going to check into it, so don't worry about it." I said, "Thank you, sir."
What were the living conditions like over there?
Well, a hooch was just a hooch.
Could you explain what a hooch is?
Well, they were all different types, sizes, and everything else. Ours had sheetrock for walls.
Oh, wow, okay.
A screen at the top. No doors, of course. Some fans that kind of worked sometimes. And that was about it. And you got a pillow and 2 sheets. And that was it.
Sleeping on the floor? Or you had a cot, or?
Yeah, we had bunks.
Okay.
Now, the guys next to us, they had cots. Okay? So every hooch and stuff was different. And then I lived in a tent for a while, and I had a cot there. Okay, no bunks. We were out in the middle of a forest. We weren't at home. So we was out in the middle of a forest, and they did put us a tent up and gave us some cots. And we were kind of on our own.
What kind of food did you eat?
When we got a chance, we'd go to the mess halls, you know, Army or Air Force, whatever. But sometimes it didn't work out that you got to eat, you know. But when we did, we tried to go there.
So you weren't eating MREs you were eating like, you know, eggs for breakfast,
Yeah.
regular meal for lunch, and regular meal for dinner. Okay.
Right, if you could get there, if you had time. Otherwise, you got sea rats.
And what's a sea rat?
K rations, you know, sea rations. But most of the time we tried to make the mess halls, you know. So I kept the kids fed, you know. And my air crew pilot, co-pilot and navigator, they like to eat too. So we all kind of work together and try to make things work out, you know.
So you tried to eat as a group, so you and your pilot and navigator and your whole crew chief, all the crew chiefs and everyone tried to eat together, go together and kind of eat as a family.
Yeah, make sure everybody got food, yes.
Do you recall the day your service ended? Like, how did you feel like your last day in the Air Force?
Well, I really don't know, because I was excited, but yet I was scared. There was nobody there to tell me if I was alive or dead, because I always had somebody for every day of the week tell me you're alive or you're dead, and now all of a sudden there's nobody there. But on the other hand, if I didn't want to comb my hair or shave, I didn't have to. So I like that part of it too. So it was kind of in between, and I got out for a while and I thought about going back in, and I hooked up with some friends and we started drinking, and well, that kind of took care of 1 year right there, you know.
So did you stay in Mountain Home when you got out?
What's that?
Did you stay in Mountain Home, Idaho?
Oh, I stayed in Boise for a while.
Boise, okay.
Yeah, I worked for a rancher out there, part-time down by Mountain Home.
Okay.
Because I came off a farm, so I still knew my cattle, you know.
And you stayed out there for a year?
No, not quite a year, no ma'am.
So when you got out of the military, you said you went into farming. How did the local community accept you? Did you
Good.
not tell them that, hey, I was in the military? Or were you proud of your service?
I was proud of it. There was a lot of people against it, but they shouldn't have been, because it caused a lot of trouble, you know. But yes, I was proud of it, but I'm prouder today as I was more than I was then, you know. Then I just did a job, you know.
Right.
It means more today than it did then, than what I realize, you know.
Yeah, I guess what I was asking was, I know you were proud, but a lot of times you don't want to say, oh, I was in the Air Force, because you're afraid of the repercussions that, people might, come after you because you were, they call people, all these negative things because of being in the military. So you were not afraid of saying you were in the military. You were very proud of your service and were vocal that you were in the military. That is awesome. I'm very proud of you, Dwayne.
Yes, ma'am. I kind of learned the hard way. Stick up for yourself, and if you believe in it, go for it. And some people, like I said, should have never done that, because, it caused a lot of fights in those days. It caused a lot of problems.
So, would you say you had a little bit of problem readjusting to civilian life?
Yeah, you might say that.
Did you go back to school or use
No.
the GI Bill or anything?
No. I worked for my dad for about a year, and then I went to driving truck. I had a friend that ran coast to coast, And he stopped by the house one day and he says, "You want to go to Seattle?" I said, "Sure, I haven't been up there in 2 years." So I threw my suitcase in and, well, shoot, here I am. I stayed in Nebraska. You know, when the truck stopped in Fremont over here, that's where I got out at, so.
And you've been here ever since, so you've been here for 50 years?
Yeah, it would have been, I came here in 72 and
Yeah,
started
51
driving.
years. Wow.
And started driving in 73. And what year did I have to quit, Jerry?
2000.
So would you say that your service changed you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you join any veterans organizations?
Yeah, I joined VFW, and I belong to the DAV.
And do you attend reunions?
Yes.
Okay. How did the military service experience affect your life?
Made me see things in a broader perspective and just what was important. Okay? Because when I was a kid, I thought loud mufflers were pretty important. But you know what? They don't mean a damn thing. Your life matters. And that's what I learned.
Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered?
No, ma'am. The only thing I got to say is this. We are missing one thing in history here. One very, very important fact, if I may speak.
Oh, please.
Okay. What we are missing, I'm getting old and my health ain't good. And I'm not going to be here all that long. But, you know, I've lost a lot of friends through my lifetime. And now I'm losing more friends. They're getting real thin. But we're forgetting about the ones that nobody talks about, the silent heroes of our country, the ones that keep me and my brothers alive. And that is our wives and girlfriends and nurses. The female population has been cut out of the picture, and that is just, it just don't settle good with me. My wife has saved my life how many times? I don't know. You can ask the doctors. 4 or 5 times, okay? I got a friend that's dying, and he's trying to keep his wife alive, who is very, very sick and is dying. And I told him, "You call me when you need me," okay? And all those years, she has worked, because he's got PTSD and heart problems too, like all the rest of us. And she worked, and she worked, and she worked. And he's still alive. We still talk to one another. But now he's taking care of her. But anybody say, in the public, say, "Thank you for taking care of him. You've done a wonderful job." I mean, what she has. Just like my wife. And, you know, I think that's something that needs to be spoken about in this country. People build memorials for us guys. That's fine, okay? I didn't do nothing. Those guys deserve it, not me. But What about the ones that have kept us alive all these years and keep us going? You know? I just got out of the hospital, and one of the nurses I have known for years, and she's taken care of me for years. I said, "It's so good to see you, dear." And she goes, "Yeah, remember me?" I said, "Well, sure. You always take care of me when I'm up here." And she goes, "You bet, you bet." People like that, like this, they've been forgotten, shoved in the corner. Does she get paid? No. The other women get paid? No. And that's not right. The pay is not the principle. I mean, it'd be nice if she got paid, but she don't. But I think somebody ought to say something or do something for the women of this country. That's my piece, my opinion, and that's what I believe in. It's just not me.
I agree with you. So that kind of covers the what do you wish more people knew about veterans and their spouses and their families, is that it's a that it's all combined. I mean, you know, a little. Your wife is in the same boat with you. She is your caregiver. She supports you, and it's almost like she was, you know, when you came back. And how long have you been married?
26 years.
26 years. For 26 years, she's been fighting the battle with you.
She takes some of the same medicine that I do.
Yeah.
You know, they said it wasn't true, but my doctor, her doctor said, yeah, my PTSD, yeah, I'm sorry to say, but it rubbed off on her too. And some of her thinking, she may not want to say yes, but some of her thinking, I know, comes from me. And that, which to me is good, you know? And I just feel so sorry for them all, okay? Those other guys, they did their job. They got their right to their memorial and stuff. Me, I'm just old me. I didn't do nothing, okay? I'm nobody special. But these ladies in this country are. And nobody says nothing, and nobody built a memorial down here to them. But that's all I got to say. Thank you for listening, okay?
No, you're great. What would you like people to know or remember about your story?
How valuable life is, okay? And what it means to keep you alive, okay? And what the female population of this country has done and what they're doing. Because I told my nurse this weekend, I said, you know, you might be quitting, but I said, you can't quit, because after me there'll be younger ones come and they're going to need your help and your experience. I said, you can't quit and leave. That would break my heart, you know. So you can think whatever you want to think about me, and that's fine, but that's my belief.
Well, Dwayne, it's been an absolute pleasure to interview you today. Thank you and your wife for doing this interview, and have a blessed day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.